everybody, welcome back to Biz Jet TV. It's Fab Poli here, and today we have Captain Giorgio Misani with us again, a great instructor flying the Falcon 7X, many other aircraft. Giorgio was one of my instructors back in the day of Gandalf Airlines. We enjoyed flying the Dornier 328 turboprop and the 328 jet. It was great fun flying around Europe with Giorgio and that. So Giorgio's going to be sharing some of its insight. In particular, we have seen, unfortunately, 5 accidents in the last month in the private jet industry. This is not good for the safety record, which is already bad. Safety record being 5 times worse than that of the airlines. So we're going to talk today with Giorgio about this issue and what he thinks is the problem and how the problem can be solved. So Giorgio, tell us a bit about you, having flown like myself with both airlines and in the private jet industry. You've seen both. You've seen pilots that have done both. You've flown with military guys as well. You've seen them all, like myself. So why is it that there's all these accidents are happening, and why is it that the safety record in the private jet industry is a lot worse than the airlines?
Okay, so ciao Fabrizio. Of course, I don't have, of course, the answer so precisely that fits this your question. But what my consideration? There are many considerations that I have to say. As you said. Flying with airline pilot, I mean, my career is around 30 years of flight, and I did 15 more or less, half with the airline and half with the executive. So I flew with both conditions, with both situations. What I can see from my point of view, from my is the difference that I saw. On the training, because it's nothing personal, but I think that the airline pilots they're not better than executive pilots. It's just that the airline pilot they had much more training because of what? Because of the training facilities, the instructor that they are more as you said. I cannot find the words. It's
standardized, more prepared.
Standardized, competent.
Competent,
more competent. So, not because it's because their background is from something that is standardized. So that's the point. So if you look at the first in the 90s, the beginning of the 90s. When I start to be a really professional pilot. The beginning was just helicopter and then gliding or something like this. It was just an hobby. I saw many, let's say, colleagues. They pass from aero club situation.
So small Cessnas, Piper Senecas.
Exactly, and with a complex aircraft jet. So it's not because the plane is the plane, but the different commercial operation and all this stuff that you have to know. And so many things, I think that the problem was just because they didn't have the right, the suitable training. It's not because they are bad or not or good. It's because if you don't have a good instruction, of course you don't have the knowledge that you need, and if you have, when you become commander, you have your co-pilot, you just transfer your knowledge. And so this is one of the reasons because of this bad record that you said. I think is one of the reasons.
I talked to just recently in one of the episodes of Biz Jet TV about the certain approaches. Some of the accidents that have happened because they didn't have a stabilization criteria. So you get to 1,000 feet, you're in IMC conditions. If you're not stable, you go around. Simple as that. And the problem in some private jets, the owner will fire you if you go around. And this is not good. It's not safe. And so the passenger needs to be educated as well. But the pilot has to leave their ego on the ground and realize that if the airplane is in an unstable situation, the safest thing to do is to go around and not try to fight the airplane to the ground and crash in the process.
You are right, completely right. The point is that your culture, aviational culture, is you don't have this kind of culture because when I start on the 2003 to fly executive jet was because at that time I don't want to tell the companies that I was flying, but they had a bad accident. Two pilots died.
Yeah.
And so the Italian authority, they said me that they need a training. So I joined this company and I start to do my training there. And I meet some executive pilots. Yeah. So the point that even if you tell something, especially someone that is already many years that fly this kind of the jet, but they don't have the right, I said, SCA, so the skill and knowledge and attitude.
Yeah, skill.
So skill is not just because some one of them they were flying military aircraft. So everybody knows that when we speak military, they think that they are, Top Gun. Mm-hmm. But the point, maybe maybe I don't wanna judge people, but the point is that the skill is not something about to have the aircraft upside down on 100 feet on the ground, on the runway. Yeah. The skill is when I did my examiner, when I judged people on the simulator or in flight as for an upgrade commander course. We used to tell that the pilot has to be to fly with accuracy and smoothness. Yeah. So this is skill. What's mean? Of course, you have to stay on that altitude, 100 feet more or less. You have to be on that radial 5 degrees or less. So you have to have as you said, stabilized approach. So you have to have no more than 10 knots or no less than 5. Yeah. You have to have the vertical no more than 1,000 feet per minute. All this stuff. You have to be accuracy. So this is accuracy. And the smoothness, why you have to judge people in your exam for smoothness? That is something about the passenger, right? Yeah. But it's not, because if you are smooth, means that you are, ahead of the aircraft. Yeah, of course. You are ahead. Yeah. Because let's say, make an example. We are flying on ILS, and I see my CDI that is moving, so I have to correct. Yeah. If I am ahead of the aircraft, I see very small deflection and I correct immediately. Yeah. So that action is very smooth because the correction is small. Yeah. But if I have one dot and I have to correct quick, what I do, my correction is not so smooth.
It's going to be rough. Yeah, you're going to be fighting the airplane. Yeah.
Exactly. And then probably you move in another side and then you have to come back in the other. So that is why we said you have to be accurate and smooth. Yeah. It's not just because it's not comfort, it's because you are ahead. This is about skill. Yeah. And about the knowledge, as I said before, okay, maybe it was a previous video, but the knowledge is that you study in the way that you know the system, and not just because you read how can you say what they say, papagallo.
Oh, you mean like a puppet, a parrot? Yeah. Yeah. You need to understand what you're reading. You need to understand and not memorize.
Exactly. Otherwise, you do just as I said, you square the box.
Yeah, like a parrot. Yeah.
Exactly. And then the other part is the attitude. What is the attitude? Is you have to be teachable. Yeah. If you don't have your self-criticism, you have to understand your mistake and admit your mistake. Yeah. So that thing is not easy to find in people, in pilots that they have already experienced, but a wrong experience. So sometimes I said, okay, now we are let's go with the briefing. Okay, let's do the briefing. And so they look at me like I was an astronaut. Say, why the briefing? For what? Yeah, for what? Because this and this. So this is normal things for a airline pilot. Sometimes sound a little bit strange. Yeah. But as I said, okay, just to be teachable and just to be with humility, and just to understand that it's not because, as we said, sometimes what is right, not who is writing in the cockpit is very important.
Yeah.
So just said, okay, maybe I make mistakes, so let's say, and that's why I think is one of the reasons. Because if you are not stabilized, if you don't have this kind of culture to be accurate in your number, in your speed, and your things, how many times I said, okay, we are below 100, fly level 100, you have to reduce to 50.
Yeah.
So why? For what? They said. Why? We go faster, we save time.
Yeah.
They don't understand. It's a culture. It's something that is important. It's something because what
you just said is important, because I remember reading. It was actually in one of the crew rooms when I was working with Ryanair. It was in Germany. I was sent to Germany for a few days to do some flying, and they had a few publications in the crew room, and they had one from Transport Canada, which is about a 30-page report about bird strikes. So one of my colleagues said, "Oh, you need to read that." So I photocopied it and I read it, and he was talking about the reason why below 10,000 feet we have to fly 250 knots or lower, because if you hit a bird, because the way it works, 300 knots compared to 250 knots.
Not sure.
That 50 knots squared is the impact is a lot higher, and it can create a lot more damage to the airplane, and that's why we need to fly slow under 10,000 feet. The speed limit pretty much all over the world. But yes, I've seen private jet pilots in my early days fly like a rocket under 10,000 feet,
like a rocket,
300 knots, 350 knots.
And this is the worst situation that you said, of course, the bird that come inside the cabin.
Yeah.
But let's say even for a normal operation, the controller, the ATC control, needs that you have this to make the distance between the aircraft. He expects that you do this speed. He expects that.
Yeah.
Like if you go to the approach chart, any kind of, the majority of the airport, you see the suggested speed.
Yes.
You see 250 below that, 210. 20 miles, and then when you intercept the lock 180, you have to keep it till 6 miles and all this stuff. But this is normal if you are coming from something that help you to have this kind of culture. But if your instructor was someone that didn't have this kind of knowledge, of course give you this kind of knowledge. So that's the problem.
Also, I think with the airlines, you fly with so many different people that the airline has to have standard operating procedures. When you're flying a private jet, it happened to me in my early days. I was flying a Citation. You fly with a guy. It's just you and him all the time. It's pretty much do what you want kind of thing. Instead of following checklists and having SOPs and procedures. And there's more preparation, because there has to be with the airline compared to the private jet. But then, sometimes because this lack of preparation in the private jet thing is what causes accidents sometimes. And if the guy's been flying for many, many hours and he's turned 50 and he's got 10,000 hours all flown in that way in the private jet thing, he's going to think that's the way you do things. And then before you know it, he makes a mistake and boom, crash.
Exactly. New pilots from executive, they probably fly with maybe five pilots in all career.
Yes.
And you and me, I don't know, maybe hundreds of pilots.
Yes.
So when you change your crew member, of course you need a standard communication.
Yeah.
So that's the point. When everything is normal, maybe you said, okay, I know this guy. You can even tell gear down with like this and this stuff, but when something goes wrong, you need to do this standard. You need to do it. So that's the point that this you have to understand. So this is another point. The last thing that my consideration, I think, is as I said before, you asked me about my kind of operation. Of course, if you go in Antarctica or you go in Kathmandu or you go in La Paz, this kind of operation normally you don't do in the airline. In the airline, you know very well, like me, that you have just to follow your Bible. Unless you are Muslim, your Quran,
whatever.
Okay, whatever. But is your operation manual. So you have just to follow your operation manual. There is very precise about your duty, what you have to do, about safety, about to be on time and to be comfortable, all this stuff. But if you are executive pilot, you have so many additional duties, like you have to take care about filling out your flight plan, or you have to do yourself, the refueling, and maybe you have to speak with the passenger secretary because they need to change the onboard menu. The menu because they don't want any more the salmon. So that's the problem. So that's additional, duties can give much more workload. Much more workload that is not on the operation manual. So this is something, of course, that I tell, pro executive pilot. So to be, as I said before, to be in the same level of safety that you have to do it, that you have to have it, you need to be a little bit better to maintain the same level. Of course, as I said, depend on your background. If you have a good background, everything goes well and smooth. Otherwise, you can have a problem. I didn't see in the specific all the accident that you said. But anyway, more or less, it's always the same. They lose the situation because they are too, the brain that I used to make a metaphor that is a cake, the brain was completely empty, and you don't have any more attention to take from your action, for the normal action.
I mean, we're looking at these accidents. I mean, again, training is, you get more training with the airlines. Private jet companies or individual corporations that have their own private jets, they should really, and this is the other thing which I'm sort of critical towards, but a lot of airlines are changing things now, but when you go and you check pilots, there's a list of maneuvers that have to be done. And they're always the same maneuvers, but then you get these incidents and accidents that happen. And so my view is that, the chief pilot or the chief training captain should be talking to the aircraft manufacturer on a regular basis, find out what is, and we did this in Ryanair. This is what they did. We did extra simulator sessions every 6 months based off of scenarios that had happened either within the company or within the 737-800 world. And so we would be briefed on this accident happened or this incident happened, and this is what the pilots did and this is the outcome. But so we put a different system in place, and we want you to run through that scenario and do it different to what these guys did it, because they crashed, but we don't want you to crash. And so running through those other scenarios, that extra training increases flight safety. And I think that's really important, in particular with the private jet industry, where you're flying the wealthiest people in the world around. These people have got more money, the so-called 1%, they're the 1%ers. They've got more money than the other 99%. So if they're spending $30 million to buy a Falcon 7X, they should be spending money on hiring good pilots and giving them good training and extra training to keep them good pilots. Because you can hire Cristiano Ronaldo for your football team, but if he doesn't train in the gym every day and on the field, he's soon not going to be the best player in the world.
Exactly.
And it's the same with the pilot.
Exactly what I think. Exactly. Yes. The point is always that. That's why we speak many times together, and we are agree with many. And we dream our company that these things, the priority is not only and always the money. That's the point. And as you said, but it's not the fault of this. I mean, the old companies, they do a mistake to speak with this man, this very rich man. They speak like I can give you a very good deal because I can make you a discount, this and this. They always speak about save money and save money, and they don't focus on what you said.
Yeah.
That I think is much more important the life.
Yes.
Because when you are dead, what you care about your money. I mean, it's something that should be so logic, but it's not so logic because that the God is money.
Yeah.
But if you find somebody that understands, it's very good. It's good to work with him.
Yeah, it's the same with passengers, briefing them on potential go-arounds. If you know that the weather at your destination is bad, you let the passengers know. If you suddenly see us coming towards the ground and then go back up again, don't be afraid. We're keeping you safe. Exactly. We're going to go around and try again. And if the second attempt it doesn't work, we're going to have to divert.
This is another point. Yeah. It's another point that can give problem to the executive pilot because as a captain in the airline, you don't know the passenger.
Yeah.
So you do your job and you are not influenced about the passenger. But sometimes your passenger is the owner of the aircraft.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very clever and how can I say, you very diplomatic to tell things, and sometimes you have to be tough, but to make things safe is not easy sometimes to deal with the owner of the aircraft, because it's normal, everybody wants to keep the job. So that's another point that, of course, make to be commander on the executive flight, more difficult than to be in the airline.
Yeah, as you're saying this, I remember one incident. I was flying. We were flying from France to St. Moritz in Switzerland. We had an Italian fashion designer on board, and the weather was really bad. We could not land in St. Moritz. We couldn't because the thunderstorms all over the place. So we told her we're diverting to Milan. She started shouting, "Oh no, I paid to go to somewhere else." So we just had to tell her to shut up. And then she was, so we landed in Milan and we arranged a car to pick her up. She wasn't happy. She just shouted all the way, insulted us. It was a charter flight. She wasn't the owner of the airplane.
Exactly.
But she did ring our owner and complain. What are you supposed to do? And we told her, you said, we can't beat the weather. If there's thunderstorms, we're not going to go and launch in the middle of a thunderstorm just to make you happy. Yeah. We'll all die. Do you want to die on the side of the mountain? But sometimes these people, it's just... and you have to be firm as a pilot with a private jet. Yeah. You have to be firm with the passenger. Safety is number one.
Safety number one, yeah. So if you consider all these things together and, the influence of your passenger, the extra additional duties that you have to do, so many airports that sometimes they are not so, not easy.
Yeah, like Antarctica.
Okay, this is extreme, but anyway, and especially because you are not used to go there. Even I said, even in a taxiway is one of the most critical, and so not all the airport because you have so many different. Sometimes is usual, but most of the time, especially if you do charter flight, you have to change it, and sometimes you just have maybe few hours to program to analyze the critic things you do. That's the point. So all these items, all these things together, that's why it's much more. That's why 5 times more. You said about the incident, the accident. 5 times more.
Yeah.
So that's why, and I agree with you that with this kind of client owner, we need to prepare more pilots, to train more, and to spend money and to give what the pilots want. That usually is money and private life.
Yeah.
But you have to be tough on the training and to do the best because we know.
Yeah.
We can make mistakes. So.
Yeah, of course. And again, the passengers need to be educated. They need to be briefed. that, you know, there may be a situation where we have to go around or we may have to divert because of weather. And if we are not taking you to the destination you paid for, there's a safety reason behind it. And at the end of the day, I think we all want to sleep in our own beds at night and not in a hospital bed or in a graveyard.
Or maybe, exactly.
So, you know, I'm paid to fly the plane. That's my competency. Let me take you safely to destination. And if we can't land there safely, we will land somewhere else, but always safe. And I think that's really important.
Exactly.
Giorgio, thank you very much for being on the show again with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. If you haven't subscribed to Biz Jet TV, please subscribe, like this video, comment below. And that's all from Fab Poli at Biz Jet TV. And I'll see you on the next one.
Ciao.